question: what exactly is truth? You would hear, or as Christians, we would say that the Bible is the only source of truth. And you can hear in today's environment loads of argument against that. Well, some would say, well, that is your truth. If you think that is true, then it's fine by you. But I think truth as something else. So, who is right and who is wrong? Is truth, or is there such a thing as absolute truth, or all truth are subject to some form of interpretations or opinion? So we have a dilemma here. Is there a way to really know that there is a truth that is universally applicable? That's a difficult question to answer. Let's first look at some definition before we attempt to answer the question. So, what do I mean when I use the word truth? What I really mean when I use the word truth is that truth is the objective standard upon which all other judgments are being judged against. So in short, if we say a line is crooked, then the only way we can establish whether the line is crooked is to compare it to truth. And the truth in this instance I'm talking about is there is a straight line in the first place. So that is what I mean by the objective standard of truth. Meaning, when I say truth, I'm referring to the objective standard that does not change. That is a standard that we apply to when we define the word truth. Well, then you can almost hear an immediate counter to that definition. You can almost hear someone say, well, that may be true for you, but it's not true for me. And you hear that quite often today. In short, is truth subjective, subject to the opinion or the preference of each individual looking at it? Well, let's try and clear up this confusion before we continue. We need to fully understand the difference between what I mean by truth and what I mean by belief. And these are the differences, and they are very important differences, because truth is not dependent on belief. Let's give an example. A belief system could be saying that, well, I believe that chocolate ice cream is the best tasting ice cream in the world. A belief is similar to a preference or a personal opinion. That may be so, but is the statement, chocolate ice cream is the best tasting ice cream in the world, true? Well, it is true for the person who likes chocolate ice cream, but it may not be able to be applied universally to everyone in the world. It may not be true. It is indeed a belief for the person saying it. It is indeed a preference or an opinion of the person saying it, but it is not the truth. The truth, for instance, could be given in this example. The world or the world is round. That can be seen as an objective truth. Now, a few hundred years ago, many people believed that the world was flat. It doesn't change. When they believed that the world was flat, it did not change the truth that the world was actually round. So the belief system, opinions, or preferences may differ, but the truth will not change. The world was round 300-400 years ago, just as it is round today, regardless of what people believed 300 or 400 years ago. Belief systems change, opinions, preferences change, but the truth is unchanging. It is immutable. So now we have a glimpse of what I mean by truth. Let's try and apply that to moral truths, being what is considered right and what is considered wrong. The question is there an objective moral truth, or all moral truths are subject to countries, subject to culture, subject to tradition or laws? So, given what was said, then what is absolute moral truth? Let's try it this way. Absolute moral truth is about a true statement, or is about something that applies universally to every person, meaning every living person in this world would agree to a particular statement. That can be considered then as the absolute moral truth. Well, what applies universally to everyone? Well, let's take a simple example, for instance, and I've used the example of a round world. Let's look at a mathematical formula. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Now, I believe that's true, and I'm sure, regardless of where you go, in India, they would believe that would be true. In China, 2 plus 2 will be equals to 4. In Malaysia, in Singapore, in Thailand, in Europe, in America, and anywhere in the world, the notion of 2 plus 2 equals 4 would apply universally. Just as this statement that says torturing babies for fun is wrong, that statement would basically apply, would obviously apply to wherever you go. That transcends countries, cultures, tradition, laws, or anything else. That is a universal truth. That is, 2 plus 2 equals 4, or torturing babies for fun is wrong. That would be an example of a universal truth. I'm sure you wouldn't find somebody saying, well, I think that 2 plus 2 is not 4, it could be 1. It's not 1. It's not 5. It's not 6. It is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. Therefore, objective moral truth is universally applicable, and it is very narrow. Narrow being it can only be one answer. In opposition to objective moral truth, it could be subjective truth. And as I explained just now, subjective truth, yes, it does exist, but it applies to belief systems, or applies to preferences or opinions. Like my example, when I said chocolate ice cream is the best tasting ice cream in the world. We know from our own basic understanding that when somebody says that, it is, or that person is expressing a personal opinion or a preference. That person is not expressing an objective truth, because vanilla ice cream might be good for someone else and strawberry ice cream might be preferred by another person. No one can say that chocolate ice cream is the best tasting ice cream in the world. We accept that. So there is a difference between objective truth and subjective truth. And the fact that there is subjective truth does not necessarily mean that objective truth does not exist. It does exist, except there is a difference. Truth is about universally applied. Truth is about being very narrow. And belief, if you like, systems or opinions or preferences are subjective. So they're very, very different. So given all this, we can say there is such a thing as objective moral truth. Like torturing babies for fun is wrong. That is an objective moral truth. Other objective moral truth might be forcing somebody to love you can be called rape. Murdering somebody can be called killing and murdering. Those are objective truth, that it is wrong universally. So, in summary, if we answer the question, what is truth? Then we can say truth is some concept or a statement or something that applies universally, that it is narrow, and that it is objective, and it does exist.